Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we're here to talk about the launch of a new beauty line from the famous, sometimes infamous, Paco Rabanne. So let's talk a little bit about it. I got two different sets of eyeshadows, a quad and a duo. We've got lipstick. We've got a cream to paint liquid eyeshadow. So we're going to talk about all of that today. But we need to talk a little bit about Paco Rabanne very quickly. As you guys know, the thing about my channel, and no, I'm not bragging, I'm just giving you background. I am a fashion and beauty journalist, so this kind of thing is what I've spent my career doing and talking about fashion designers and whatnot. You might know the name Paco Rabanne from fragrances because there was a lot of colognes that house made and a lot of young people would wear them. And in Britain, my husband, who is Scottish, says that he remembers kind of the football casuals would wear a lot of Paco Rabanne. If you're in the UK, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it had that certain reputation to it. But you have to remember that Paco Rabanne in the 60s was kind of the bad boy of fashion. Okay, so Paco Rabanne is actually a nickname for Francisco Rabaneda Cuervo, who was a Spanish from Spain fashion designer. And in the 60s, he would make these kind of avant-garde space age costumes, like using plastic and metals and things like that. And I know that you might say, oh, okay, so nobody had done that back then. So he was really kind of out there, and he remained so. You know, it's interesting. Paco Rabanne passed away, unfortunately, at a now seemingly young age of 88. Actually, he just passed away this year, at the early part of this year, like February of 2023. And he remained controversial in his elder years as well. You know, he had certain theories, like he believed that people lived many lives, whether you agree with that or not. Many thought it was kind of outlandish. He also felt like the Mir space station, I think he said, was going to crash into the center of Paris. So he had a lot of kind of outlandish ideas, but that really was part of who Paco Rabanne was. This really just iconic, but also iconoclastic figure, I think would be a good way to say it. So I just wanted to remind us of what he did in the 60s and his work in the 60s, because I didn't want everyone to just think of the colognes, though the brand did so well with the fragrances. So now that we know that he would experiment with texture and different elements and space age concepts, the makeup collection might make a little more sense. That's why I wanted to lead with that, though I wasn't trying to talk down to anyone who already knows all this information. Okay, so let's talk about what we got here and what the collection entails. Everything is done in this silver space age, to use the term again, packaging that I actually am embarrassed to admit, but I'll tell you all, took a minute to know how to open. See, there's a little button you press and it flips open. I didn't know that, but they're mirrored. I mean, really beautiful, beautiful, you know, kind of contemporary packaging. So we're going to start with what's called the handbag palette. There are 4 different handbag palettes, and they're $38 each, and they're basically just a quad. I picked up one because I wanted to see what it was about, and this is called Unnatural World. I will be swatching them in a moment. These are all made in Italy. Beautiful. It's so interesting in this one. We'll talk about it more when we demo it in a moment, but there's like a cream shade, there's a wet, kind of a wet cream shade, and different types of powder and shimmer shades. Really interesting. So this is Unnatural World, but there are 3 other color combinations. Then I also picked up one of the mini palettes. The handbag palette is $38, not bad, and the mini palette is $25. Now there's 10 different versions of this. Again, I just picked up one called Macaron. And that would seem about right. Look at the shades there, very macaron shades. This is done, all of these are kind of done in formulas that the brand calls either leather, matte, like they're leathers, or foil, or luster, or vinyl is what they're calling it. It just feels very 1960s Paco Rabanne. I know that this case is not 1960s, but it would have been for Paco Rabanne in the 60s, you understand. Okay, this kind of way that he played with texture and material in outlandish ways that was never done before that. He was really kind of shocking back in the day. And then we also have this Colorshot. This is really interesting. It actually looks like artist paint, doesn't it? if you've ever seen artist paint, doesn't it? This is the Colorshot. There's 12 shades of this. I just picked up one. This is the Cream to Paint Liquid Eyeshadow. I picked up the shade Glow Up. It is $25 and there are 11 others for a total of 12 shades. So we're going to play with that. And I am already wearing the famous lip color in Red Seal. And this is $32 for 15 shades. I am holding up a mini that I got. That I just got with it because I bought enough, but the regular size would be $32, 15 shades. There's also, and I didn't pick it up, something that Paco Rabanne is calling a mascara routine. That's right, a mascara routine. So it is a primer, a mascara, and then a top coat mascara. The mascara routine seems slightly unnecessary to me, but who am I to say? I haven't tried it, right? It might be the most necessary thing ever. So if you've tried the Paco Rabanne mascara routine, please let us know. Okay, so in homage to Francisco, we're going to try all these on. I have 2 eyes and 2 palettes, so let's just kind of play with them and see what we can do. It's really interesting because the other day I reviewed the new Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, the fall palette, and I was saying how I kind of like little ethereal shades. I don't like when palettes get too dark, and that one just kept wanting to get away from me and get a little too dark. So, well, if you talk about gentle ethereal shades, I guess this one is going to take the cake. So let's look at this. We're going to start with a refer number 1, and we'll just do this eye. This is cream right in there, really wet cream. So I'm going to go in first with this, which looks to be a little bit of a satiny matte. And then, as I get started on this, we are going to go to some swatches. First, in studio lighting, take a look here. I have the Handbag palette to the left, then the mini palette with the just duo, 2 shades to the right of that, then the Colorshot, that's that really kind of glimmering metallic paint, and then the red lipstick on the right. That is the Red Seal lipstick on the right, and that is in studio lighting. And what I'm going to do now as I work on my eyes here is take you outside into the warm California sunshine. Take a look at them here, also on my arm, and see what you think. I think you can see them a lot better in the natural lighting, can't you? A lot better. Okay, so what I've done so far while you guys were looking at those swatches outside is I have finished on just this eye putting on some of these, a combination of these 2 matte shades. These 2 are kind of similar to one another. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. This one builds a little deeper than that, but they are slightly similar. And I'm going to then take a refer number 28 in this slightly darker shade and put that underneath the eye and see what we get. Very pretty. No complaints whatsoever. Let's see. So let's go in. Let's keep that number 28 and let's go in here. I still haven't decided what we're going to ever do with this Colorshot because I don't have 3 eyes with the liquid paint. But let's see. Okay, so I'm going to take this now. Boy, I just said this the other day. I said I liked gentle shadows and gentle shades. So you're not going to get more gentle than this. And I can really go in here and put it. These are very, very subtle. Almost too subtle. Be careful what you wish for when you say you prefer subtle shades. I should mix the 2 palettes. Very pretty, but it's going to be tough to see. Let me try applying with my finger. I haven't even done the wet cream yet. Let me see. There we go. We're getting a lot better color payoff with the emolliency and the warmth of my finger. Okay, so let's do that there and then see what, yeah, it's really pretty. It feels very regal. What do you guys think? That's very pretty, isn't it? Okay, and what if, oh boy, this liquid, oh, it's so liquid, it's almost like sweating. I can't explain this cream here. Let's see what it does. Let me put it here on the eye. Oh, it's kind of interesting because it's almost like a matte. It's almost like a matte, like I almost feel like, let me put a little bit in the center. You definitely want to put that on with the brush. Okay, wait, hold on now. It's a bit of a matte. Now wait, I'm going to go back in. Just stay with me here. And now I'm going to put this over. This is one of those read the directions first. I mean, it doesn't matter how you use these. It's all just eye makeup. So I'm going to go and put this really kind of this really kind of ethereal shade over it. Oh, that's really pretty, isn't it? That's really different. Like, I'm not sure what to make of it. I definitely like it, but it's so different. The textures are so interesting. The application is very subtle, but it's kind of different and pretty. I mean, I haven't seen an eye palette that looks like this before, really. And I've seen a lot of eye palettes, let me tell you. It's kind of interesting. I got a lot to say about this lipstick, but we haven't gotten there yet. Okay, let's try the Duo on the other eye. That's why we got two eyes. I don't care if I'm mismatched. And then we'll play with this liquid shadow. Okay, so these are just two shades in this Duo. So talk about a very simple eye look. I'm using a very fluffy number 27, which I might regret. No, that's pretty. That applied really, really well. I didn't know about the pigment. Very different than the pigment in the handbag quad there. Is it the handbag palette quad. Very different. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. And it kind of depends what you get, what the texture is. I mean, I could have ordered another one and gotten a different texture. I'm going to go in with that same brush. Ooh, and that just layers. Ooh, that is pretty. That just layers over it so beautifully. Wowza, look at that. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this kind of a green shadow here and put that underneath. Tell me that's not delightful. And it does look like macarons, doesn't it? The little cookies. That's pretty. Okay, I'm keeping this out because let's see what we can do here with this Colorshot. You saw it on my arm. I kind of picked a very kind of white shade. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to put it on this here. I'm going to go right here because, you know, you could put this on your eye alone, but let's just see. I'm not trying to ruin our pretty candy colored eye look, but I just kind of want to see what happens if you layer it over. And you know, it's interesting because they say you can use this Colorshot depending on the shade you buy. Of course, you can highlight with it, or you can even contour with it. If you, obviously not this shade wouldn't contour, but this one's kind of a metallic shade, but they make some that aren't. So I just decided to lay it over. What do you think? It feels like a cream shadow, but it really blends like a powder. Let's see if there's a benefit to putting it on this. Ooh, look what it did there. I mean, you could just use this as a one and done cream shadow too, but I kind of like it intermixed with the powders. I hope I didn't ruin the eye looks we created for you guys. I just wanted to try it a little bit. This is innovative and really nice. This is really fun. I'm enjoying that. Now, do you think I could use this as a highlight or would it be too much? Should we try it? Yeah, it's going to be too much. It's going to be like way too much. Okay, let me just stick it there and just kind of pat it on. Okay, this is going to be too much, but this is going to be fun. Okay, let me just, I'm afraid to put it directly on my hand because I don't want to get too much. I mean, there's Space Age and then there's Nutty, right? Oh, I kind of like it as a highlight. Look at that. I'm just playing around to see ooh! I just want to see various ways that you could maybe use these. Now, I mean, there's so many textures in these, and there's so many, you know, like if they say you can contour with it, that means there's a matte, you know, so there's all, I don't know, I thought it would be just kind of fun to have this slightly silvery, champagne-y look that could go in the center of the eye. So we got two different eye looks with this over both just because I was playing around. What innovative. And you know, I could have gotten so many different looks because all of these palettes are kind of with different intermixing feels, vibes, and formulations, you know, combined in it, which is really shows a deep love that the brand has for its true 60s roots, you know. That's cool. That's cool. And this should get the people that are into the artistic makeup, the Isamaya fans, etc., etc. You know what I mean? This is not really going to get the Sydney Grace crowd, I don't see. Now you're going to say, hey, I like both. Cool. But you know what I'm saying? The type of crowd, this is going to get a very, very sophisticated, interesting look. Now let's talk. I already put on the famous lip color in the Red Seal. This thing is feathering and bleeding like crazy. I put on about 4 or 5 coats of it and had to use a lip brush. I think I finally got it on now and it's not moving and I like it. And I've kind of blurred the edges and I really like it, but I had to work with it to make it work. Maybe in other shades it would behave a little more. Now that it's on, it's barely, it's kind of transfer proof. I made a little bit of a mark when I kissed my hand there. But it's actually, now it's wearing really well, but I had to struggle with it. You know, when I first put it on, it bled into lines. When I put it on again, it feathered. I think it feathered 4 or 5 times, so, you know, it took quite a few minutes. But if you don't mind taking a little time with your lipstick, it's now super comfortable, yet super matte, but it feels like part of my lips. So that's a good and bad review. I hate fussy red lipstick that you have to spend forever on, but fussy red lipstick is kind of, it's just like saying red lipstick, really. Most red lipsticks are fussy. I think this is unique. I think these are exciting, different. You want something different in your makeup? You're bored of all the makeup that's released? You think it's same old, then you got to try this Paco Rabanne. This is not same old, same old. It is interesting, it is intriguing, it is sophisticated, and yet still very pretty. And it looks like you're going to order maybe different items than I did and have a totally different experience in terms of formula and look. But the ones I got, I love. And I guess I really can stick to my edict from earlier that I like these lighter ethereal looks. I don't know. When the dark stuff just gets too dark for me. And I love this duo. I didn't even really need this over it, but I don't mind it. But that duo is really cool, and the packaging is amazing, and it feels very 60s Paco Rabanne. It's a shame to have lost him earlier this year. A true genius for sure. So I want to know what you guys think, and did you know anything about Paco Rabanne? All of that stuff is fascinating to me. I could talk about it. I could talk about fashion history and beauty history all day, so I do try to keep it at a minimum, but you know what I'm saying. So let me know. All of this talk that we do down below this video, it's what makes us a community. So make sure that you say something down there. I'd love to hear from you. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope that you did. Hey, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. I know that YouTube ends up recommending creators that you've seen videos from before, but if you actually hit subscribe, it is really helpful to me, and I appreciate it very much. And while you're over on TikTok, Instagram, or Threads, come on over and see me there as well. And don't forget that you can become a bigger part of this YouTube community by becoming a channel member. Down below in the description bar, there's a link to join. It's only $4.99 a month, and we have weekly members-only lives, members-only gossipy lives, so we'd love to have you join us. Or you can give super thanks, or geez, just shopping from the links below gives a little bit back to this channel, not from you, but from the retailer. So every little bit helps. I don't care how you participate. I'm just happy to see you here, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Bye-bye.